Okay. I just want to start off that you see in this week's parsha, you see the way the Rebbeinu Shalom is manning the whole world. Everything is coming, and I just want to show you a ma'isa, a story that happens, and it's mamish derech ha'olam, and you'll see that the same thing, that even though it sounds like all nisim that happened to Moshe Rabbeinu, it's really everything happening today. So there is a story of a person whose name was Pee-wee, and he lived bisman World War II, and he was a tremendous baseball player. Those of you who don't know what baseball is you have a bunch of people who have big sticks and they hit a round ball and then they run away. So this guy was very good at catching the ball. He was a shortstop. He was good at catching the ball and throwing the ball. He was expert. So I say he got a big contract to play in the major leagues. We're talking in the early 40s, and he was a yid, but Nishke from a yid, which was a big chiddush in baseball in those days. It was Kamat no Yidden. All the old timers knew Hank Greenberg. I don't know what he did, but he was a baseball player and he was very famous. But anyways, so this person, Pee-wee, he was a tremendous baseball player. And it came the time that everyone heard what the Nazis were doing to the Yidden, and since he was Jewish, he decided he wanted to go to the army. So he went to the army. I'm saying the story very big, it's really a long story. I'm saying it's very short. Basically, what happened was he was drafted in the army, and in his unit was a frum guy. And the guy, the frum guy didn't hang out with anybody else. He kept to himself, during the downtime, they would all play cards or whatever they would do. And he would, he was mizbainin, he would think and he would daven. So one time, one of the goyim came and started up at the yid who was davening. And he was chaperoning him. So this guy, Pee-wee, since he was a Jew, and he saw this guy attacking noch a Jew, he got up and he punched the guy in the face and knocked him out. And the Olam was very inspired that here's this guy Pee-wee, who was a major famous baseball player, and he's supposed to be Mr. Calm and Mr. Peace and the mediator for Al's Ding, and he's beating up this guy for no reason. He's making fun of a Jew, big deal, right? And he did it. Then they made friends. Then came the time that they had to get shipped off. So the plan was that they're going to go, they were on the boat, and they were going to be part of the D-Day invasion. So the D-Day invasion had hundreds of boats, and they had tons of airplanes coming up, but the Germans knew that everybody was coming, and they were prepared for them, and they were set up like these guns with shields around them, bunkers, and they were shooting down all the soldiers that were coming in. So their boat came in, and I say he was a star shortstop Pee-wee, but as he was coming in, he was the leader of his platoon. He got shot in the arm, so he put a tourniquet on his arm to stop the bleeding, and so he survived the D-Day, but injured. And his frum friend, who became very friendly with, also survived it, but he lost his arm. His arm was amputated, so his baseball career was over. But since he befriended this frum person, so he had an ashpa on him because he came back after the war as a hero and he got his medals and all this thing. But Lamaisa, he was a baseball player, so he came from Pshutayam. Nobody was interested in him anymore until now. All the fans, ran after him and everything else. So Lamaisa became friends with this guy, and then he went into his father's business, and even though his father was very anti being frum, but his father still was makabel him in the business and so forth. That's the story. The story, there's a million maises that were nisim v'neflois that happened, but it's a story of what sounds like regular things that happened. Now let's tie it in, right? Rebbeinu Shalom came to Moshe Rabbeinu, and he said, I want you to be the shliach, right? And how did he tell it to him? He told it to him by chasneh, right? Sneh boye be'esh, einenu uchal, which by the way means, what is pshat? Einenu uchal means that the sneh was ruchni, right? Ruchni doesn't get used up. So the sneh didn't get used up, so sneh is ruchni. You see that was the Maisa of Chanukah also. It went from the Shemen being a Gashmi to a ruchni, it didn't get used up. You see it also by the ruach, when you smell with your nose. You could have a million people smelling one flower, the smell doesn't get used up, because that's part of the ruchni shabai. Mashenkin, if you eat something, that's the gashmi, it does get used up. But that's zach on the sneh. Now, the Rebbeinu Shalom told him afterwards, he told him, Eke asher eke, and that was really what I wanted to talk about. So what's Eke asher eke? Eke is al shem ha'asid. So how could it be Eke asher eke? What does Eke mean? Pashtus means whatever will be, right? But it's saying that right now also. It's Eke asher eke. So how could you have a hoive with the Eke? Eke al shem ha'asid. This is right. So just like we learn all the time, we learn about Tzimtzum, we learn about Sharashim and everything else that we learn about. It's not that it happened Kaidim Habriya, Alpayim Shana, and there was a Tzimtzum, right? There was Arin Seif, and then there was a Tzimtzum, it was left of Rishimu, and then it became Adam Kadvan, and then there was a Kav, and everything else that went on, right? It's not that it happened one time, and now the world is working off it. It happens Kol Rega V'Rega, it's a Naya Tzimtzum every second of every day. If you don't believe me, as I learned to Leshem. So, I just learned it fairly recently. So, the Eke is al Shem HaAsid. Now we have a question I asked this week. Sometimes Eke is for Keser, it's Keneged Keser, and sometimes Eke is Keneged Bina. So which one is it? So in the Pasuk it says Eke Asher Eke, right? So if you take the word Asher and you mahapach to Oisius, then it becomes Rosh. So when it says Rosh, then as you know it's Keser. And when it says Asher, then you know that it's Keneged Bina. Why is it that way? Because Asher is the Gilui. And Bina is always much more begilui than the Keser. So therefore, that's the that's why it's more so in the Asher Eke instead of the Rosh, because the Rosh is always Behelim. The Ikavar is... So Eke Asher Eke is the first, so really what it is that the first Eke is going on now, because now is really a Asid. Every second now is Haya Haiva V'yiyah. Why is it a Asid? Because right now is not now anymore, now is already in the future, right? So every now is the Asid. But and the other Eke is the real Asid. And how do you see why you need two Ekes? Because what is Eke twice is Shem and Beis. What's Shem and Beis? That's to be Melech you from Olam to Olam, to go from one stage to the next stage. Raya L'Davar is Membeis Masois, Klal Yisrael went from the Midbar to Eretz Yisrael. Nocharai, if you want to, is Anubekayach. When do you say Anubekayach? Let's say by Kabbalah Shabbos, right? So you're going from Chayil to Kodesh, you're going to a new Madrega, so therefore your Maila, it through Shem Membeis helps bring you up to the second Maila. That's why over here, they were going to go into Shibud Mitzrayim. Shibud Mitzrayim is Yisurim, and Yisurim is Al Shem HaAsid, and then they'll become an Am, so it's really just birthing pains, right? So that's really Al Shem HaAsid because they're coming into the new Madrega. That was the later of Klal Yisrael was happening right then and there. So this Eke Asher Eke is showing us a few things. First of all, it's showing us Halichas HaChaim right now. That whatever happens to us right now, even though it seems it's Al Shema Asid, even though right now it seems like it's a Nesayin, it's a Paranias, it's a Midas Hadin, but it's really all Al Shema Asid, so it's really all a Midas HaRachmim, just we don't know the Cheshbon. So that's one chelik of the Eke. And the other chelik of the Eke is I'm stressing the point that the Hoive is a Asid. I mean, I'm bringing a raya also from when you had a Tzimtzum, at the beginning of Bria Ha'olam, even before the Olam, I should say. These Madregas are way before Bria Ha'olam. So it's always carrying on. In other words, the Hoive is always the Asid. It is not a big chilik. Question is then why do we always use Shem Havaya? Right? And why don't we always use Shem Eke? Right? Because since over here we want to be mechaber the zah to the bina, so that will be mamtik the din by having the havai is always a mamtik. Eke is a chesed elyon, but since there's no gili in it, so we have nothing from it. The shtigaraya l'davar is if you take the word asher, what's asher? Asher is really elikim. How do you see that? What's a shin? A shin is elikim b'miloi. What's reish? Achirayim. Elikim Achirayim. So the shin of the reish is Shem Elikim. How are you mamtik it? With an aleph. What's an aleph? Aleph is written Yud Vav Yud. And how much? It's 26. So the aleph, right? The tzura of the aleph is Yud Vav Yud. Right? So Yud Vav Yud is 26. The Shem Havaya. Shem Havaya is mamtik. The Shem Elikim. So that's why it's the Eke, which will Shema Ha'asid. And now you have a Midas Hadin coming in because we don't know the Cheshbon, so we think any tzaros that happens to us is really a bad thing. But really it's a Hamtakas Hadin because you have the Havaya connected to the Elikim in the Hasher. And then just Agav, also it says like in the next pasuk, Zeh Shmila Yaylam, Zeh Zichri L'Dar V'Dar. So this time everybody knows this already. What's Shmila Aylam? It's spelled Chaser. Aylam is Hester. What's Shmi, the gematria of Shmi is Shin Mem Yud is 350, right? Plus the first two Isis of Shem Havaya is Yud K makes it how much? 365 Shasa, right? And Zichri, how much are the last two letters of Shem Havaya is 11. So Zichri plus 11 is Ramach Evarim. So that you see that the Shem Havaya is Merumas also in every part of it. And that's basically what I wanted to say, that you see every word in the Torah, every ice in the Torah is Merumas our Halichas HaChaim. It's just a question of learning how to read.